What's up, everybody? It's Lukie, and this is my fight preview. I couldn't get a guest on. I think the guest correspondents are always fun to do, but I also think I'm the smartest person in boxing, only slightly kidding. So if I get a chance to just show my vanity and give you my hot takes and opinions, I always feel like, yeah, I'm the smartest guy in the room. I know what's going on with boxing, and I think a lot of people that tune into my channel view themselves the same way. So let's see how this goes. I had a guest that was going to break down these two fights for me this week, and they chose not to come on, so we're going to just wing it and try to adapt and change the game. Once again, if you want the full breakdown of this, go to my Substack. It's going to be linked in the bio, and you get extra rambling of me talking about the full fight card. Though for this one, I might be a little less enthused, but who knows? I'm going to record that after this video. Emanuel Navarrete is taking on Charley Suarez, and that is a fight. That is a real fight. Now, this is why I say it's a real fight. Navarrete comes on the scene. Let me give you the boring background to Navarrete that some guy would just hassle you if you're like, break down this fight. And they just go on a 3-minute boring speech, and you're sitting there like, do I get to chime in? Let me do one of those. I've had that happen to me a bunch on press row where this guy's like 55, just gives you the most boring speech ever, and you're like, what are we doing here? Navarrete emerges 2017, 2018, somewhere around there. I believe it was around Christmas time, if I remember. And he beats Isaac Dogbe. Dogbe had beaten Jesse Magdaleno. So there was just basically like a revolving door at Top Rank in I think it was 122-pound division, where Magdaleno beats Nonito Donaire. Okay, Magdaleno's the guy. Magdaleno loses to Isaac Dogbe. Dogbe says Neho, and it's like this thing that like is catching on. Then Navarrete beats Dogbe twice, and now he's an emerging guy. Then he goes up to featherweight, beats Ruben Villa. Then he goes to 130, beats Oscar Valdez twice, once in a matchup, and then in his last fight after losing to Dennis Barancek. But then he's had some off nights, and he's always had some red flags kind of around him in terms of conditioning. You know, it's obvious he trains hard, but it's also obvious that he doesn't take like the nutrition as serious. For a fight with Baez, I remember Tim Bradley in the broadcast talking about how he's going to fix things in his diet, but not for this fight. And it always feels like those are red flag athletes, because everything, at least for me, like for this channel, for example, I'm treating this as a dress rehearsal for if I ever get a television talking head job, that I've done a dress rehearsal and I have a certain level of comfort in front of the television or the camera doing these silly little videos that all 100 people tune in for. With Emanuel Navarrete, I feel like some of these fights, these tune-up fights, these title defenses, serve as dress rehearsals for big, consequential, legacy-defining fights. And he didn't take that same mindset, which tells me when he runs into the athlete who has that mindset, he's probably not going to win, because there's something limiting him, because he believes that he can have certain camps where he doesn't train hard and certain camps where he does train hard, whereas there are guys that are just giving their all each and every camp, and they're slowly but surely just getting better than him, because he's having inconsistent camps where sometimes he gives, let's say, 70%, 60%, maybe 80%, but the nutrition isn't there, and he's never able to enter those big fights, at least from my perception of him, and I could be wrong, building off of those camps, maximizing his potential. He doesn't feel like someone that's maximized his potential. Then you have Charley Suarez. I believe he's about 36 years old, Filipino fighter. Interesting character. He's emerged, aggressive, was set to fight Andreas Cortez. I felt like that was a real 50-50 matchup. He's never really fought at this level. He's never had a title fight. He doesn't have, I think Navarrete has double the amount of experience in terms of rounds, which is interesting to note. That's kind of an interesting sidebar to think of. But, and don't quote me on that, but it's around there. Suarez is a big unknown, but at the same time, it's like Navarrete just lost to Dennis Barancek, and Barancek, when he fought Keyshawn Davis, looked like a fish out of water. And Emanuel Navarrete lost a vacant title to him and struggled. He struggled with basic things. And it's hard to unsee performances like that, and it's hard to unsee that Navarrete is somewhat declining. Like, he does well with fighters that fight a style that he likes. And I think that coming into this fight, that is the one thing in Navarrete's favor. He has experience, and it seems like Suarez is going to come forward and fight him. Now, the downside is Navarrete has a style that doesn't age well. You know, this is a guy that he did beat Dog Bay by boxing, touch, 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 box. But he spent a lot of his career also, you know, slugging, take a shot, give a shot. He hits really hard. He has those unconventional uppercuts. Just a strange career. So when you break down this fight, it's an interesting and compelling matchup to me, but I have no friggin' idea how it goes. So that's my breakdown. Go to the newsletter and I'll break down the undercard, which I think is pretty interesting undercard, which is topped by a title fight with my guy Raymond Murtala. Go to the newsletter, get my thoughts there.